Good evening. My name is Nam Pham. Welcome to VATV. VATV is co-produced by VAT from Dorchester. We hope to provide better understanding between the Vietnamese American community in Boston and our friends in the community at large. We are live every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 in both English and Vietnamese, of course. You can watch us at 7 p.m. On live at www.bnntv.org, or Sunday at 5 p.m., Monday 1 p.m., and Tuesday 11 a.m. You can call in and share with us your thoughts or questions. The number to call in is 617-708-3290. If you miss all of these dates, you can also watch us on YouTube or at VATV website. So please do watch us. This evening we are very fortunate to have a special guest, Mr. Kirsten Hughes. Sorry. No, she is the chairperson of Massachusetts Republican Party. And I guess in Massachusetts, we usually say that politics is a sport, a bloody sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Nam. Yeah. Thank you. It's great to be here. This is my first time on Boston neighborhood television, so
wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah. In our Vietnamese community, we often think that the chairperson of the party is the most powerful woman. She can appoint people to every important position in the government. And if you don't listen to the Queen, you'll be in trouble. Is that true?
Well, I wish it were true, especially at home, but no. I do make a lot of appointments and things like that to committees, but for the most part, I listen to my constituents, which are my 80 state committee members. So, but I also have an obligation to the candidates that are running in the state, and to make sure that what the party is doing is supportive of them. And anything that I can do that helps get Republicans elected across Massachusetts, it's my job to do. And sometimes it's not an easy decision to make, but as you say, I am the queen of the party for right now anyway, or king, whatever you want to say. So they're my decisions, and you know, it's not easy. Leadership's tough, but it's in a cause that is the right thing to do. Our state is in some serious trouble, and you look at some of the mismanagement, the wasteful spending, the poor choices that are made in government today, and you know, I see somebody like Charlie Baker who can make a difference, and so it's really important that I do this job right now.
Yeah. Many of us are new voters, so we try to decide whether or not I should register as a Democrat, or should I register as a Republican, or should I register as unenrolled? Yeah. What are the reasons that a new voter should become a Republican?
Well, there's a couple reasons in particular here in Massachusetts. Number one, we are, as you've pointed out, and it's probably no secret to the audience at home, a smaller, a minority party.
Very minority.
Very minority. But that makes our voice all that more important, because it's a check and balance, right? One party rule by a supermajority of Democrats here in Massachusetts is very traumatic. It's very troublesome. Look at the probation department. Very recently, we've had 3 indicted House speakers, and that's only allowed because of this, climate and culture of go along, get along with the Democratic mentality up on Beacon Hill. And so in order to change that, you have to send different people there. And that means sending Republicans. And again, that's what makes our voice, though small, so much more important, especially these days. So number one, I would say, if you are interested in making sure that there's a check and balance here in Massachusetts, which we are in dire need of, then register as a Republican and pull the lever for Republicans. But also, in our talks, to me, the Republican Party has always stood for folks who work hard, have done it themselves. And It's a party that I think I was born into the 80s, sort of. Well, I was born in the late 70s, but grew up in the Reagan era, and so I sort of naturally gravitated towards that party. I loved politics as a child, but as time went on, I saw that the Republican Party and those candidates reflected the values that my parents brought us up with. The importance of protecting America, the importance of working hard and earning what you have, the importance of voting and getting out there and participating civically. And my parents aren't Republican. They weren't Republican growing up, so it wasn't something that was foisted on me, but something that I chose. And so I hope others feel the same way and join our party to make it stronger, make our voice stronger here in the state.
I think that's great. Stand for independent, work hard, protect America. But also on the other hand, many of us heard that Republicans are a party of rich people, don't care about the poor.
Well, I'm not rich, I can promise you that. But look, that's not been my experience. That's not true. Republicans for generations, that I have seen, have been very generous in terms of their community work and in terms of their giving in charity. And that's not that may have been a stereotype then, but the Republicans I know are working hard every day, not only to bring home the bacon to their own house and feed their kids, feed their families, but also working hard in the community to give back charitably and as well as of their time. They're coaching your kids' soccer, teams. They're out there, working in the soup kitchen. Scott Brown, who I worked with for a long time, did the soup kitchen. Every year on Thanksgiving, he would serve a turkey dinner here in Boston with his family, and he did that far before he was a U.S. senator. And I know Charlie is extremely generous in terms of his charity work and has been a big brother since he was young. And so these are not people who only care about the rich, and that perception is an old perception. It's not true. And again, I have college loans like everybody else out there, so I pay them, and I pay them any way I can, and that means working. If it means 2 jobs, 3 jobs, which I often have, that's what I do.
I'm still learning U.S. history.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Was President Lincoln
Yes. He was a Republican. Yeah. He was a Republican. So that's right. Very good. And that's really, where our party started. And, just to have those rich roots and to have that wiped away now by the media is just, it's too bad. But we have to get out there as Republicans and tell our story. Talk about the party of Lincoln. Talk about that, Republicans were really the first ones after the breakup of the Civil War to push equality, to push forth the 13th and 14th Amendment. And it's really because of Republicans then. And that is a tradition in the party which is well respected among party loyalists, and really is a story that doesn't get told enough. Also with women's rights, Republicans have a great deal of women in the caucus right now, in the Senate and in the House, and also all of, I worked in politics a long time. All the good Republican political operatives I know are women. So, I know some good men too, but so it's definitely the stereotype of Republicans not caring about the poor, minorities, or women. It's not true. It's a myth promulgated by the media and of course by unchecked democratic power.
Yeah. The party, mm-hmm. your party, has a very rich history mm-hmm. of caring, but the perception is not that great. So what are the party in Massachusetts is doing, try to tell your stories?
Well, we're doing things like I did the other day, come down to the VATV Center, meet with some of the local business owners, meet with some of the local folks in the community, as you were generous enough to show me around, to just talk in those communities with the people that we maybe haven't done such a great job of talking to in the past, and being willing and being able to go to those neighborhoods and talk to folks and bring a message of economic stability, good schools, bringing back some economic development to those areas. And I know Republicans have the answers to those questions, because 8 years of a Democratic governor and a Democratic supermajority on Beacon Hill has not done anything to move the needle in those places. So I know Republicans have the answers for those things, and I know those are what urban communities care about.
Some of us in our community were surprised to learn that the chairperson of the Republican Party is a woman.
Yeah.
So have you run into that sentiment? You?
I know.
And how you feel about it?
Well, it's very nice. Again, leadership is sometimes difficult, so it sometimes feels a little lonely. But as a woman, I think it gives me an opportunity to bring a different perspective to the position. I'm a mother. It's a two-income, family. My husband's shoulder is the main burden there right now, because I'm doing this and raising our son. But this is a different Republican Party. Somebody who I was born in Quincy, raised in Quincy. I'm a city councilor there. And, it's not an affluent city. We're a very blue-collar city. But again, people who work hard and want to see their hard work rewarded. And maybe that's something different than the party has seen in chairman before. And, but I think, again, it just brings a freshness, and it gives me the ability to go to places that maybe we haven't been able to go before, and talk about women's issues where maybe, we haven't been able to do before. Because all issues are women's issues, in particular economic ones. And that's the one talking point that Democrats push that I really have a problem with, that I really feel is unfair. I care about putting food on my table. I care about whether I'm going to have a job, whether my husband is, whether my son is going to grow up here in Massachusetts, whether there are good schools available for him, and whether he's going to stay here and build a life and build a business here. And those are my main concerns. And I know they're the concerns of other women across the Commonwealth. So they're not one-issue voters. They speak all languages in terms of the issues and the challenges that we face. And I face those challenges like everyone else every day. So.
How long have you been the chairwoman of the party?
Too long now. No, you bet a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's great. It's been a great time, and I've had a lot of wonderful candidates to meet and work for, and met some great people across the state that, again, without this position, I would not have the gift of meeting. So I'm very blessed in this position, and it also gives me an opportunity to talk about things that are important to me, and making sure that our state is headed down the right road, and talking about good folks, good leaders like Charlie Baker, like Karen Polito, that we so desperately need here in Massachusetts.
What are your goals what were your goals when you first became the chairperson? And you've been there for a year and a half. Are there any change, or you continue to try to get something done?
Well, one of the things that I took on as chairman was to improve our ground game, our get out the vote strategy, which is something that we have fallen down on the job in past elections, and was something that I saw as our main challenge, and really what we need in order to be successful in November and beyond. And so I committed very early in my chairmanship to raising money and to putting resources towards building this ground game. And I'm happy to say we have done that. In 2010, we had 5 statewide field offices, and now today we have about 21 field offices less than 90 days out of the election. So that is absolutely progress. our ground game is better. We've been able to make an unprecedented level of voter contacts and voter IDs at this stage in the game than we ever have before. Knocking doors, canvassing, these are things that we have not been able to really execute well on election day in the past or in the weeks preceding the election, that we have been doing well now, that we've changed direction on and realize is the important way to go. So I feel good that I've brought that game up as the chairman of the party, and that's our goal, is to support the candidates and make sure we get out the vote for them on November 4th.
A few years ago, I kept hearing about the term, the big tent of the party. What is the big tent? Where is it?
Well, set up in my backyard. No, it's about. I have gone all over the state, and certainly on some issues, Republicans and Democrats can disagree, but on the main principles of lower taxes, job creation, economic stability, good performing schools, Republicans are united and know that we have the answer. Yeah, we may disagree on certain other issues, but on those guiding principles in which the Republican candidates really make the focal point of their message, we are united. And again, it's a family. You always have squabbles at the table, but in the end, everyone sings from the same sheet of music. And I feel confident that Republicans across the state are going to be doing that come September and come November for Charlie Baker.
In our community, when we first came to America 40 years ago, a large number of Vietnamese, after they become citizens and become voters, they tend to be Republicans. However, for the people who were born in America, the second generation of Vietnamese, the majority of them tend to be Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and especially in Massachusetts, I think over the past 30 years that I've been here, the percentage of Republicans voters have not increased much at all. So that's number one. And number two, there's also other new voters, new immigrants, who can identify naturally with the principle of small government,
right,
low taxes,
mm-hmm,
independent.
Mm-hmm.
But how come the Republican Party has not been able to attract those natural born Republican and they become Democrats?
Well, we've talked about this before. I think at some point there's a cultural barrier in terms of participation, and that's something that we have to work on. And that, again, things like coming into forums like this and going to cities like I did on Thursday down to VATV is a change in that direction. But certainly we need to do much more in terms of getting voters registered as Republicans, and that takes money and resources that we need to raise, and sometimes we're busy doing other things, getting candidates elected and so on and so forth. So point taken that there's a lot we could be doing, to reach out to those voters. But if you look at our numbers with unenrolled voters here in Massachusetts in the past election, Republicans, percentage of voters that go our way have been ticking up while they've not been choosing Democratic candidates. And we have won independents handily in the past 3 elections. And our numbers, again, keep ticking up with unenrolled voters. So I'm happy with that. As long as we win on election day, it takes a coalition of folks to make up that win because of our numbers here. But it's about getting great candidates and people who can provide leadership. And I believe Republicans have the market cornered on that. And I know we have a great candidate in November in Charlie Baker and Karen Polito at the top of the ticket. And I believe that message of great leadership and bringing this state into giving us an opportunity to have a real check and balance on Beacon Hill is so important. I feel like we're really there for November, and we're going to work on registering more Republicans. We are working on that right now as part of that voter ID program that I talked about. But it really takes coming into these venues and talking to voters and folks that we maybe haven't done in the past. So
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you so
sharing your
much,
thought with
Nam.
us.
So good to see you again. Thank
good
you for
luck.
having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching VATV. We would like to invite you to join us on September 13 at our 20th anniversary. At this gala, we will honor former U.S. Ambassador to the Vatican and former Mayor of Boston, Mr. Raymond Flynn. He has opened up the city to not just Vietnamese, but many other new Bostonians as well. We also publicly say thank you to Harvard Youth Program, Pride, Boston Refugee Youth Enrichment Program. And we also will say thank you to a group of who used to be young people 20 years ago, founded VATV, our founding board members. It will take place on September 13 at 6 p.m. at IBEW Hall in Dorchester. We will share with you more information, but please put on your calendar. We hope you will join us to say thanks to former Mayor Ray Flynn. Thank you so much, and hope to see you again.